this masculine and feminine energy is something that is being sort of almost shamed and vilified to talk about. But I think it's really important to do so because there's this very grey area where the man is trying to be everything to everyone. And where, in my own opinion, we're living in this hyper-masculine world where women are trying everything to keep up with men, but yet, biologically, are the ones who are bringing children into the world. And that cannot be anything but the most important thing that any human does in their existence. And yet it's still expected that they are supposed to go back to work, that they're supposed to be the CEO, and that they can be everything and everything to everyone. And how many times have I seen this result in burnout and result in relationships that absolutely were great, but now there's this sense of failure that women feel in and around the early years of motherhood, and that they're not keeping up and they've got to get back to work and all of these kind of things. So this fascinates me a lot, this whole sort of emphasis and the difficulty in the modern world between talking about the masculine and the feminine. So I guess the question I have for you is, can you unpack, I guess, in the modern day, what type of woman a boarding school is looking to produce? Because I'm a bit confused by it.
Well, in the modern day, I think it's very different from the history. We're talking about the days when boarding schools were separate sex and the girls were kept in boarding schools to stay pure and chaste until they met this handsome prince that was in the other school, in the boys' school, who would come along and take them and make them a wife, and she could nurture them and sew a lot and run a house. And girls were educated to that. This is my generation. There are women who went to boarding schools who were not allowed to be too intelligent. You mustn't be intelligent because you mustn't be more intelligent than a man. And that, I quote that from someone in my book, an interview with a father who said of his daughter, well, I wanted to be intelligent, but not too intelligent.
Wasn't that the headmaster of Rodine?
It was, that's right. And it was quoted in Gathorne Hardy, I think.
Yeah, incredible.
So it was really common. And I also quote Judith Oakley there, who writes about her own boarding school experiences. And she was very bright. And she was advised by her tutors at school that actually, you shouldn't go to university. You'll take a place that, could be had by a man. And she did eventually go. But, what odds women were working against then? So schools are very different now. I think they're very much more encouraging of women's intelligence and a nurturing of that. I mean, I don't know a huge amount about the schools now. And the abuse that girls are getting in schools now is much more because they're mixed schools and we've got social media and they're judged on the boys and the girls mixed together, and that the girls will be rated according to how attractive they are, whether they will have sex, or if they've had sex, then they're a slag. Awful stuff, really, really making it a minefield for girls in boarding school now. But a lot of women, manage it and come through that. I think we'll hear more about this in a few years when the younger people who have grown up with that, with social media, will be able to tell us what it was like for them, because at the moment they're living it. So it's
a different experience, isn't it?
Yes, it's complicated. But it's not great either way because, it's very hard for parents to protect children. That's the point, I think.
So I've got a quote here for you, Joy. From your book, it said, rather than beatings that took place in boys' schools, shame was commonly used to control girls. Girls were expected to show contrition by humility, apologetic stance, downcast eyes, possibly tears of defeat, and often in front of the entire school. And I think, many would argue this is a thing of the past, but I'm also told that this hasn't totally gone away.